Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another live stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Also, check out the Discord channel, guys. Completely free to join. Link to that in the description below. You can find updates there, chat with other traders, share ideas. I share ideas there as well, discuss with me. And you can find updates with other things going on as well. So if you are interested, it's free to join. Link in the description and also at the top of the chat. But as always, guys, we'll go through the USD side of things first. A lot of interesting moves as the week has opened up. A few gaps here and there, a few big moves here and there as well. So a lot to talk about. We'll start with USD side of things first. Go through dollar, USD majors. Gold, silver as usual. Probably go through some indices as well. Any requests, any time frames you want me to take a look at or share my opinion on, drop it in the chat, and of course we'll discuss and take a look. But first thing is first, which is the DXY, and of course we've had a very bullish morning for the DXY, and things are looking very bullish right now. And of course, we've been expecting price to retrace for two major reasons. Number one, we've taken up major lows on the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart. And number two, the market is very stretched, very overextended. We've been selling off for, well, since the high there back in Jan, so the start of the year, we've been very stretched to the downside without much of a pullback. So expecting a pullback because simply we haven't had one for a while, and two, we've taken out some major lows which could potentially induce that pullback. So it looks like we are seeing that push to the upside now for the dollar, and I'm looking to see if I can short it again because I still do have that bearish bias, and I'm looking to see what we can do in these areas for potential selling opportunities. So 101.5 and 103.5/104, kind of anywhere in there. So between 103 to 104.5, really. Those are two areas I'm looking at. So we've had a lovely move into this area. So far, momentum still looks pretty bullish. Bit of a wick to the upside, but no real indication yet of price falling at the top or potentially looking to sell off. So still going to monitor what we do here for the dollar, because this potentially could invite sellers into the market and we could see a move down. So this area does interest me. Of course, if that area doesn't hold and price does rally through that, well then my focus will shift onto this area and see what we can do in there for, again, some selling opportunities. Because I'm still bearish longer term dollar. So I still like the idea of shorting it, but this is now our retracement phase. Now it's just anticipating when that phase is potentially over and looking to follow the trend again. But I'm going to see what we do in this area. Like I said, so far still pretty bullish, so not a lot to take away, but we'll see how price reacts. Same thing with euro as well. Pretty much the exact same analysis, just flipped, to be honest. Has been for a while, which is, again, we've taken up major highs. On the weekly chart, market's pretty overextended. We've been bullish since the start of the year. Not much retracement. This is the biggest retracement we've seen all year until now, of course. So the market has been overdue that pullback, and we had that massive wick to the upside a few weeks back, which kind of tells us that, okay, momentum is dying out. Potentially we are going to push down. So market was pretty stretched to the upside, taking up major highs. Those are two good reasons for us to see a pullback. Now it looks like we are seeing that. But again, for euro, I do think the market is dipping down to form a higher low before it does continue. So I'm looking at a couple areas, again, pretty much similar to the dollar, which is this resistance level here and this level here, but again, anywhere within here, to be honest. So anywhere between 1.095 and 1.075, I would really be happy to take some longs there. But we'll come into this first level, again, left a bit of a wick to the downside, so things are looking a little bit interesting. Similar to the dollar, we'll see what happens and as we develop. Potentially momentum could still just keep pushing down. If that's the case, I'll step to one side, let price do its thing. If we get to the second area, then of course we'll see what price does down here. But again, now that we've had that retracement, now I'm looking for this momentum to fizzle out at some point, and I'm looking for long opportunities now with euro and short opportunities with the dollar. that's very much my thought process now. And yeah, we'll see how that develops throughout the week. At the moment, looking very, very bearish, so not much to do. Heading over to pound USD, same situation here as well. Finally seeing some momentum to the downside. We gapped the downside, slight retracement, and then this morning is really where the momentum stepped back in. So again, we had those wicks on the weekly chart. So we had 3 really significant wicks to the upside the past 3 weeks. 1, 2, 3, all coming back into resistance. So that was a really strong sign telling us that, okay, there's a very likely chance that pound USD is going to push to the downside. We're not going to throw those wicks there for prices potentially break to the upside. Of course, that could happen. It won't be the first time price does break through resistance, even though we respected it pretty well. But again, trading's all about likeliness. It's all about probability. We've probably got a better chance of pushing down than pushing through that level. And again, this kind of could still be bearish and then pull back up the remainder of the week as well. So that could happen too. But there's a good chance this week we're probably going to see a push down. And that's kind of what we're seeing at the moment. Now, the question is, how far down do we go and how long for as well? Because again, similar to Euro, there's a couple of areas which I do like the idea of buys from. We'll see what price does here. Probably we'll wait to see if we can get a bigger push to 1.3. For me, judging how price is retraced, I'm not a big fan of how we've retraced, kind of put like a bowl shape pattern. So this area might be too soon to get long. It depends how we react. But I think I would rather a push to 1.3. I think that gets us back into the 0.618 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, back into the 0.618 of the fib as well from that low to the high. So that would be a more appropriate place for me. I'd be a bit more comfortable to hold a trade back to highs from there. But this is also an interesting level. We'll see how price reacts there. But again, at the moment, very, very bearish momentum. I wouldn't be jumping into longs just yet for pound or euro at all. And of course, dollar CAD opposite, pushing to the upside pretty well. We broke out of that descending channel last week pretty well. Momentum has just kept up since then. So again, dollar CAD, same situation. Looking for shorts for this one in the long term. I'm looking to follow this overall bearish structure, swing to the downside, pullback, swing to the downside. Again, expecting a pullback for another swing to the downside. So that's all I'm trying to trade with dollar CAD. And you can see we're coming back into some nice areas where potentially that next lower high could happen. So I'm looking at both of these levels here, 1.405 and 1.415. Both these areas look good to me. Not quite there yet, so still looking for a bit more upside for dollar CAD. I said at the start of the week there might be, not the start of the week, on the weekly analysis on the weekend, there might be some retest opportunities for dollar CAD to potentially push down, come back and test some of these levels before we do continue higher. But it looks like dollar CAD just opened up very bullish, so that might not happen. It still could happen, but probably going to keep pushing at this point. So yeah, we'll see what dollar CAD does at these levels, 1.405, 1.415, and things are good. Hopefully find some shorts, take it right back down because I'm looking for another big swing. Aussie dollar, again, still very interested in buying this one, but again, I need a lot more downside. I want price to take out these lows here. This is kind of where price has been ascending from in this kind of weirded channel, if you will. So I want price to kind of break out of that, flush the downside, take out these lows, and then potentially go and put in a major higher low in for us to then push the upside. Anywhere between 0.63 and 0.62 really is my area of interest for Aussie dollar. Kind of coming back into this area. And yeah, looking to take it to the upside. I'm still looking at this being a bit of a bottom for Aussie dollar, and I'm looking at us kind of having somewhat of a reversal hit. And I'm also seeing a potential inverse head and shoulder pattern, left head and potential right shoulder, which is where I'm looking to trade. So I'm pretty bearish short term with Aussie dollar, but bullish long term. Again, still looking to try and trade that USD weakness in the long term, but for now, with that USD strength, I do think Aussie dollar, again, is likely to see a bit more downside here. So waiting till we get to those prices before I do engage, but that is very much the plan. New Zealand dollar, I'm not as much of a fan of as I am with Aussie dollar, or as I was with New Zealand dollar maybe a couple weeks ago, just because we put this double top in. I'm not really a fan of that. It's kind of price fading at the highs, potentially looking like we might be having a much bigger push down. I mean, we are coming back into some nice structure over here at 0.58, where we can find support potentially and push to the upside. So it's still coming back into a nice level, but I think Aussie dollar looks like a much better setup, to be honest, in terms of where we're positioned and how price is pulling back. But at the moment, NZD USD, Aussie dollar, they're very similar pairs. So if Aussie does give us a big swing, I would guess NZD USD does the same thing. But yeah, in terms of setup, 0.58, 250 looks good. Like I said, I probably would just focus with Aussie at this point in time. That is a setup that I'll keep an eye on, but I think I would prefer to trade Aussie dollar at that point. And then over to gold. So gold, very, very bearish. Since the week has opened, we're coming back into support here. So I would keep an eye to see how price reacts with this area, because there could be some nice buying opportunities. Of course, if dollars is going to stay strong, that probably would keep gold weak, but that could change pretty quickly. But yeah, we are coming back to some nice healthy support now. This is, of course, we had that massive rally a couple of weeks back, so we could be seeing a nice bounce again. Would I expect gold to push back to all-time highs from here? Potentially, but I would be a bit more cautious with that. I would definitely book profits before that. Yeah, I wouldn't bank on that swing happening. Also, I still like the high here as well for gold. Prior resistance, nice swing to the downside. We broke through that level. Haven't yet come back to retest it. So if we can, again, I think that would be a nice place to position and start looking for some entry signals as well. So gold's still looking to see what we can do at these lows, and if we can take some reactions to the upside. Silver, not a big fan of silver, to be honest. Very, very flat. It hasn't really trended well. Stuck between these two levels here on the 4-hour chart, but even looking on the daily chart, looks very, very messy as well. So until silver can come back and test some of these areas, 31.29 down here, I don't think silver's a good buy or a good sell, really. I think it's just stuck between two levels, so it's difficult to trade this one well. Clearly support here, which we're struggling to break, but at the same time, we're still kind of trapped with these lower highs here as well. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the price action of silver. Not really seeing much of an opportunity, to be honest. But if you can come back down to some of these levels, perhaps maybe you can find some long opportunities and maybe take it back to highs. But I'm still bullish long term with silver, but just not seeing a good opportunity to trade it at all to the upside. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD side of things. At the moment, pretty bullish. I think we probably will see a bit more strength with USD. But again, I do think we're coming up higher to potentially find some sells. Okay, where was I? What's up, Ahmed? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Incanteco, welcome to the stream. S&P 500, Aussie CAD. Okay, we'll have a look. FX Wolf, dollar yen trend shifting. Yeah, the yen pairs look like they are shifting at the moment. I've been pretty bearish looking to short them. But pound yen looks like it's breaking to the upside. Euro yen looks like it's breaking to the upside. Aussie yen, New Zealand yen as well. Definitely dollar yen and CAD yen. But yeah, we'll go through all of the yen pairs because they are looking interesting. FX Wolf, pound USD, looking forward to buy at some key levels. I agree. I'm looking at pretty much the same idea as well. Philip, what's up? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Hope you're doing good as well. On the DXY daily chart, I'm spotting an inverse head and shoulder with a neckline break, potential trend reversal in play. What's your take? Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on the dollar. I think we can see a lot more upside as well. I do think it's a retracement, though, of the bearish leg we had throughout the year. I'll go on the chart and explain it a bit better. But yeah, I do think we can still see more upside for the dollar. Good morning, Yusuf. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. What do you think of your USD buying the 15? Because there's a small gap that wasn't filled up yesterday. Okay, I'll go take a look at that as well. Let me go through the S&P, Aussie, CAD, dollar yen, pound USD, and the dollar first, and I'll get to your pair. So S&P 500, I believe these indices gapped to the upside. Yep, and they're looking very, very bullish. So this is pretty significant to me because with this price action right now, with the gap to the upside, of course, the daily candle hasn't closed yet. But if it does keep this up, we were breaking above the 200 and breaking above structure to our left there. So that to me is a very, very bullish signal there for the S&P 500. And I would be expecting price to continue back to the all-time highs because there is no obstacles in our way now. If we can keep this up, stay above this area, stay above water here, till the end of the day, then I would be expecting S&P now just to make its way back to 61.39, which is back at all-time highs. It might be aggressive, it might be a bit slow, but I would be only interested to take that to the upside and looking at this as like a V-shape reversal here. So the key thing I was watching out for the S&P and the NAS is what price is going to do at this swing high and what we're going to do at the moving average, the 200-day moving average. Two big confluences that potentially could turn the market bearish should we respect them. Of course, if the market's going to respect the previous lower high, we could form another lower high and come back down. And of course, if the market's going to respect the 200 moving average, that could act as resistance like it's done previously. Not so much over there, but it did essentially hold. And it did turn us back down again as well. So if the market now was to continue through this, then I'll be expecting something like that to form and a continuation back to highs. Of course, right now, the day's still young. I mean, looking very bullish. I wouldn't say there's much to do right now. I wouldn't want to be buying it right now. I need price to kind of settle down, retrace, form some higher lows before I would position myself long. And I wouldn't want to short it either. It looks like we're breaking resistance to our left. No sign of rejection at all. So I wouldn't say there's much to do. But if we can start to calm down, form some higher lows, perhaps there might be some retest, even a retest of some structure here. There's a gap over there we could potentially fill before continuing to the upside as well. That could be a nice swing for the week, back to highs, so on and so forth as well. So there could be some nice buying opportunities coming our way here with the S&P, breaking structure, breaking the 200-day moving average as well. But I wouldn't be looking to buy in a breakout here. I'll wait for price to settle, pull back, find some higher lows to buy. But yeah, that's kind of the setup I'll be eyeing up at the moment for the S&P. But I think I'll probably wait for today to close first and then see what type of price action we can get tomorrow. But yeah, I push to the upside, some pullbacks. I'll be looking to try and see if we can follow that trend a lot higher. Where was I? Aussie CAD. So Aussie CAD, I've had mixed kind of outlook with this one. New Zealand CAD I'm pretty bullish on, which is kind of the brother, if you will, of Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD, Aussie CAD. They tend to do the same thing. So technically, when I'm bullish on one of them, normally I'm bullish on both of them. And I'm pretty bullish on New Zealand CAD. Still looking to buy that one, but Aussie CAD not so much. We're coming back into some interesting areas where we've had a lot of selling pressure previously. You can see we consolidated there for a few days and then huge push to the downside. So this is definitely not an area which you were looking to buy from. If anything, an area which you're looking to sell. But then again, from a swing perspective, I don't really expect to see a swing to the downside for Aussie CAD, to be honest, with how price is moving, with how we respected support here. It's not a situation where I'm now expecting a continuation. I think for Aussie CAD, we might see a swing to the downside just because of where we're coming into. But I wouldn't expect it to be a huge swing. I think we might see price push down and then potentially find support again and push back up. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Aussie CAD right now, because this is definitely bearish territory coming back into 0.9. You can look to our left. That's a huge area of supply. This is definitely a nice place for a short. I think that's also a nice candlestick as well. A nice wick to the upside, piercing the highs, tapping into that supply area, strong rejection. If that could close a little bit stronger, that would be a nice entry signal on the 4-hour chart itself. But I did kind of pull back, and it's not far off a doji there. So if we had a strong close, that would be nicer. Perhaps wait for the next 4-hour candle to really confirm momentum. But yeah, from this area, 0.898, I think that's a nice place to be shorting. You see every time we've had stabs into this level, the market does hold its ground pretty well. So if you can repeat that or see some momentum, I think that's a good short. And yeah, I'll probably be looking at this low and this low for targets. I struggle to see this move here. I think something like that could likely happen. So yeah, targets around 0.8888 or 882 makes sense to me. Dollar yen shifting. So yeah, it does look like yen is very, very weak at the moment. So of course we're seeing strength on the yen pairs across the board. Dollar yen strong push to the upside. I'm still pretty much bearish on this one. As we come back into this humongous level here, this is really where I'm looking to see if price can push into, form a lower high and push down. Kind of like what we did over here, kind of like what we did over there, and potentially there again. So I'm looking for the next lower high to come down, because I've been expecting price to bounce at this support level, because it's a huge support level. The market's quite stretched. I was expecting price to bounce from there, but I actually do expect price to break this long term. If price was to break above this level, then I probably would scrap that bias. But I'm looking for another lower high. So as we push back into 149, 150, that's when I'm starting to look to buy, to sell again, sorry. But yeah, we have kind of shifted momentum here. You know, price has formed higher highs and higher lows since the low here. So we definitely have shifted. I said on my weekly analysis that if price can perhaps come back and retest this level, that might be a nice place for a buy, but we were not to see that. Price gap to the upside and just flew. So very difficult to get into this trade unless you weren't already buying down here. But yeah, since we have been looking pretty bullish, I think some more buying opportunities look good actually. If we can get a retest of this structure now, I think that would be a smart place for a long, continue that momentum back to highs. Then, like I said, as we get back to 149, 150, this is where I'm going to see what price does. And perhaps there might be some selling opportunities to take it back down, and maybe some big sell opportunities as well if it really does play out. But for now, strong break. We're seeing some bullish structure at play with some healthy momentum there. So I would suggest some pullbacks look good, find a higher low, and then yeah, some buys look good back into resistance, and then we'll see what happens from there onwards. But yeah, I do agree. It looks like we have shifted. We'll see what price can do at 150. So yeah, pound USD, I do agree. I do think price is coming back down to buy. I'm still very bearish dollar long term, but I think the strength now is a bit of a pullback and a needed one as well. I like the area at 1.3. I was talking quite a lot about 1.315, 1.31, this kind of resistance here, but I'm not such a big fan of how price is retraced. It's kind of like a bowl-shaped pattern, which is more of a reversal pattern than a retracement pattern. Not always the case, but it does happen. It does happen more often than not. So I want price to have a pretty deep retracement. So I'm looking at this area here, which lines up pretty well with the 0.618 of the fib, which I drew from this swing low to the swing high up there. And looking at basically this range here as well. So I've got some confluence in this area, which I'll be happy to go long from. I have been talking about this area, but the more I look at it, the less I do like the setup. Maybe if price action looks really good and I'm seeing some really strong rejection there, maybe I do consider to get long from there. But I do want pound USD to come a little bit further down. So 1.3 I think looks really, really good. Big psychological level as well. I think there's a good chance we do see a reaction from that. But yeah, I am looking to pick up longs and pound USD as we come back down. At the moment, we are in this kind of bearish structure right now. So I do think we can still see some more downside. And yeah, we'll see how far and how long that lasts for. But I will be looking to try and pick up some longs at some point, maybe next couple of weeks, because it probably will take at least a couple of weeks to come back down, unless we're very bearish for whatever reason. But yeah, I do agree with that outlook. In terms of the dollar, so Philip, you mentioned inverse head and shoulder pattern. Yeah, I do agree with that. We had the left over here, the head, and then that's kind of the right shoulder. Now we snapped the neckline. You could argue that's the retest of the neckline there. Now the price has rallied to the upside. So yeah, it's been a very nice reversal for the dollar. We've come back into massive support on our left. The market's quite stretched, so I do think we can rally. But again, I do think price is having a pullback of this move. for us to continue. I've got a couple areas which I'm looking at. So this one at 101.5 and also 104-ish. Those are the two areas which I can see price potentially selling off again. But yeah, for the time being, I would say we have reversed that momentum. And now I'm looking to see where we can reverse potentially back down again to continue that momentum. But yeah, dollar has been pretty bullish. I would still say buys look good actually. If price was to retest this area, I think that's still a nice buy intraday level. But these are the areas which I'm looking to potentially short the dollar again. So 101.5 and 103.5 to 104.5, anywhere within that sort of region there. But yeah, at the moment, still looking pretty bullish. I think a nice intraday setup would still be a retest of this area. For a swing perspective, we're going to see how price reacts. If this area doesn't hold, then I'll see what we can do at 104 up there. But longer term, I still do have a pretty bearish bias on the dollar. So still looking at that as just a bigger retracement. We'll take a look at Euro USD on the 15, Yusuf. Do you have a trade there? Okay, so I buy Euro USD on 15 because I see a small cap that wasn't filled after yesterday. That's not open. I also think it's a level for a buy on the 4 hour. Okay, let me just get rid of this. So you're asking for a buy on the 15. Yeah, I would not buy that on the 15. The 15 market structure is looking, the 50-minute is still very bearish. I wouldn't buy on the 15. On the 15-minute, I'm seeing lower lows and lower highs. This is not structure which I want to look to buy on the 15. 4 hour chart, that's different because we're looking at more so this swing here, which is still bullish. So on the 4 hour chart, I can understand looking for buys, and I am looking for buys myself on the 4 hour because you're trying to expect that trend to continue. But on the 15 there, I wouldn't try and tackle that on the 15. 15 is still pretty bearish. If I'm looking to buy in the 15, it's because we've got bullish structure on our hands here. I'm looking to try and catch the next higher low. So that would be something I'd look to try and take on the 15, because at least on the 15, I'm in the direction of play. So yeah, on the 15, I would have to wait for this type of development to happen. 15 is still very, very bearish to me, so I would stay away from buys. 4 hour chart though, yes, I do like this. Coming back into this area here, also this area down here as well, another area which I'm looking at to buy. These two areas look good to me on the 4 hour chart, so we're waiting for 4 hour to develop. You also mentioned 4 hour as well. So yeah, I would agree from a 4 hour time frame perspective. This is a healthy retracement coming back into a nice prior level of resistance, which we had a lovely breakout from, and no retest until now. So it's a nice fresh level. And yeah, this potentially could provide us some nice buying opportunities. We have to see how price is going to react here first. At the moment, the last 4 hour candle closed pretty bearish for a pretty big wick to the downside. So there's no indication really of a reversal just yet. There's a slight wick, yes, but I need a lot more than that to indicate a buying opportunity for myself. But of course, it's a start, and we'll see how price develops. If it does break through, well, I do have a second area slightly lower, which I also will consider for some buys. But yeah, from a 4 hour time frame, I think that looks like a nice place for a buy. 15 minute, I think that's you asking a little bit too much from the 15 there. Of course, it's going to have to start on the 15 minute for it to then develop into the 4 hour, but the 15-minute structure is very bearish. Because again, 15 minutes at intraday's time frame, you're not looking to try and capitalize on massive swings. You can do that, but a lot can happen in the 15. You know, there's 16, 15-minute candles in just one 4 hour candle. A lot can happen in 16 candles, and that's just reflected with one 4 hour candle. So with the 15-minute, it's an intraday time frame. Primarily, you're going to be looking for intraday moves. Maybe you do swing it for maybe a couple of days if things go very well. But again, with a 15-minute, you're most likely going to be in the trade and out the trade within the day. So I would focus on trends that are in my favor already on the 15. So when I do get a pullback, I know that momentum is likely to continue in my direction for the rest of that day, so I can take the profit and move on. Maybe I can leave positions to run if you have further targets. But yeah, I'll be a bit careful trying to pick some bottoms down the 15. Not to say you can't do it, it's just I'd rather there be structure in my favor. And at that point, I would say 15 still looking pretty bearish. So yeah, I'd watch out for that. Let's see, pound NZD. Okay, I'll take a look. I'll go through pound NZD, then I'll go through some of the yen pairs because they have been looking very interesting. Yes, we just went through pound USD. Okay, looking for a good level to buy. Yeah, for the 4 hour, I think it's a good level, Yusuf. It's a good level for the 4 hour. 15, I think, is a little bit too small of a time frame for that buy there. I wouldn't drop so low. So yeah, pound NZD, kind of a bit sideways. Again, pound NZD is a market which I do think can have a bit of a drop soon. We've been pushing to the upside in this ascending channel, and I do think price soon enough is gonna hit a wall and potentially retrace and see some downside. So I'm actually pretty bearish on pound NZD. I do think we're gonna have a pretty big relief in price soon. So I'm looking to see where I can potentially capitalize on that idea. Where can I find a lower high? And I like this resistance here, 2.26. I think that's a smart place for a short as well. If price can get there, react there well, I think that's a nice place for an entry and even just a push back into support there. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. It can form a potentially bit of a range here. I think all in all, that is a smart place for a short on pound NZD. And maybe if you do crack support, it could be a trade which you do hang on to for a little bit. If we can break through some key lows here, I used to say that we can't really potentially reverse and see a big drop. So I know pound NZD is still on a bullish trend, and that trend can still very much continue. But after the rejection we've had, after the price we've hit, I do feel like the bigger move now is to the downside for pound NZD. And again, you don't necessarily have to look to try and capitalize on that. I think this is a great place for a sell. If it happens, we could just look for a swing back into support. If price does break through this, then I would scrap that idea. Because of course we're breaking back to the highs now. This could be a big double bottom. Potentially price might go and do something like that now. So I would walk away from that. But at the moment, I still like the buys here for pound NZD 2.26. I think that's a nice place. Sell, sorry. I think that's a nice place to be actually looking to short the market. So yeah, pound NZD for now pretty bearish, and looking for a bit more upside before looking to sell that. But I do think this trend is running out of steam and getting ready for some downside. So that's really what I'm interested in. But yeah, moving on to the yen pairs. So I was taken out of break even for euro yen last week. I had a short position on back over here, did see a nice drop in my favor. We just about took out these lows, which is where I went to break even. But since then, price calls reversed and then took me out. I think it was on Friday or Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. And we've been looking pretty bullish since then. So euro yen potentially is about to break some highs now. And if we do get above that high there, I will kind of back away from that bias that I've had for euro yen. I'll look to see what we can do at the highs here. I think that's also an interesting place for a sell. We might form a massive double top before selling off, because essentially we've been ranging. Yeah, this is price coming back to the high of the range. But again, the main idea for myself for euro yen was that we're forming these lower highs. So expecting another lower high to form for another swing to the downside, to continue with this structure. But it doesn't look like that's happening. Price potentially is getting ready to break to the upside and take out this swing point here now. We'll see if that does happen. I mean, it's a pretty strong close in that last 4 hour candle, so I think there's a pretty good probability that we just do continue to push there and take out the highs. So once that does happen, I will forget about that bearish structure, and then I'll be expecting euro yen to push back to 166 now, which is back at the highs there. So then I'll see what we can do up here. Perhaps I might have another stab with the shorts. Again, the risk is definitely worth the reward, because I'll be expecting price to get down here. If I can short there, ride it to there, that's a huge swing in itself there. So I definitely won't pass up on that opportunity. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe Euro Yen's going to be very bullish. Maybe we break through. All of that can definitely happen. It's just wait and see what price does when we get to that area. Pound Yen, another one which I was looking to short again this week. I was looking to see if we can put a nice double top in at this level. But pretty much as we opened for the week, we gapped above the level. Looks like we had a quick retest in the lower time frames, and now price is looking very, very bullish. So again, the idea with Pound Yen was we've got these consistent lower highs in the market. 1, 2, 3, looking for the fourth. Again, technically we haven't broken structure yet, so the idea for a fourth lower high is still intact technically, even though momentum is looking very, very bullish now. But I need to see some sharpish rejection somewhere, which at this point is not looking very likely, because the plan was this week looking to see maybe if you can run the highs there, and after we do that we come back down pretty hard. Nice bearish engulfing candle, and that would be my entry signal. But at the moment we gapped above, used that support briefly, and now we're looking pretty bullish. So if this momentum does continue, we take up the highs there, well, I have to scrap that bearish structure, and at that point maybe we do push back to highs up here as well. 199, just below 200. That could be the case there with Pound Yen, and at that point, do we just continue back to highs really? I think we could. So yeah, Pound Yen looking very bullish. We haven't broken structure yet, so I have to be patient for that. But if we do go and break structure, well then I'll be pretty bullish on this one, at least back to 199. Perhaps we can find some pullbacks to right to the upside. But at the moment, looking very, very bullish for Pound Yen, and that short setup I had at the start of the week is not looking like it's about to form. So staying back from that. CAD Yen looking pretty bullish as well. This one had a very strong move to the upside this morning as well, of course, they kind of all did. But this one looks like it's trying to break through the highs here on the left. Yeah, almost did with the close. But again, this is pretty significant as well, because this looks like it's forming a massive double bottom. You know, this is your support level, price respected at once, twice, you could argue a third time there as well. Essentially, we've come back to test that level again, it's held. And we come into a very key level of resistance. Support there, resistance there, gave us a really nice sell a few weeks back. And now if price does break through this, well, then I'll be expecting something like this to happen. I'll be expecting something like that to happen. So yeah, I'll be pretty bullish on CAD Yen, to be honest, if we were to break above that level, because this is our high that gave us the low, and then price is now to go break through that. So that'll be a very, very bullish signal to me, and I wouldn't be looking to short CAD Yen at all anymore. That'll be a very, very bullish sign, and then yeah, perhaps some retests could look good. Of course, you got Aussie Yen and New Zealand Yen. I haven't really been looking to short these, to be honest. I haven't really liked the way they've been moving, so I haven't really been looking to short them. But again, looks to me that Aussie Yen looking very bullish. If we can take up the high there, that to me is a very strong signal, and I'm expecting a bit of a higher low to form and a continuation. Maybe somewhat of an inverse head and shoulder pattern, if you will. And that kind of being the neckline, I feel like that could be a nice opportunity to keep an eye on. Likewise with New Zealand Yen as well. Left head, perhaps we might form a right shoulder as well with that one too. That's your neckline. But it looks like New Zealand Yen, again, about to break structure to the upside. Very, very significant. That means I'm not going to be looking to sell this one. Actually, not so much long term, because this is the actual swing. So technically price can pull back anywhere within that. But because we do take out this structure here, it probably does mean a lot more upside. Not necessarily I'm expecting price to fly to the moon, but we could probably see maybe a week or two of more upside. Even if we are going to sell off, it just means you have to back away a little bit. And there could be some nice longs on the lower time frames, especially if we can take out some structure there. Perhaps we find a retest somewhere. That could be a nice swing for a week or two. Back into structure there, and maybe beyond that as well. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. But yeah, momentum is very, very bullish for the yen pairs at the moment, so difficult to be looking to short them. I think some pullbacks look good on the 4-hour hourly chart for some buys actually. So I think if you're a bit more intraday, that's definitely the opportunity I'd focus on. Good morning, Opamipo. Good morning. Hope you're well. Okay, I'll go take a look at dollar yen. No problem, FZ, happy to help. Morning, Dark Sean, welcome to the stream, hope you're well. Just a quick drop in to say hi to everyone. No problem, missed last 2 weeks of stream and probably will miss one more till I sort some things out. Okay, no problem, my man. Take care, hope you're doing well. But glad to see you on the stream. Ivan, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Just joined missed Euro USD analysis. Could you do it once more quick, real quick? No problem. How far can USD push price down? Sure thing. I'll go through dollar yen quickly, and then I'll take a look at euro for you. But yeah, dollar yen. So again, another yen pair. As I've said, very, very bullish with this one. I feel like if we were to get a retracement for retest of this level, that would be a nice buy. But essentially, I'm still pretty bearish with dollar yen. We've got this massive level to our left here, at 150. I'm looking to see what we can do there, because potentially if we form another lower high there, like we did once, twice, perhaps a third time, I feel like this would be a really nice place for a short and a push back down into that same level. Because as I've said, I still do think this level can break. But of course, I wanted to see a bullish reaction first. So we've got that bullish reaction. Now we're coming back into some big levels. Now it's game time. Let's see what price does here. Because if we do continue to the upside, well, I probably won't be looking for that swing anymore. But if we can start to stall here, form some lower highs, double tops, I feel like that's a nice place to be shorting. And there's a big swing to catch. This is the weekly chart as well. But in terms of a more kind of intra-week trade for this week, what we have right now is bullish structure from that low. So I said earlier, if we were to pull back, retest the high there, I feel like that would be a smart buy. Coming back to a smart level there, strong break this morning. We could be looking for the retest of that before more upside. So I think that's the trade that makes the most sense. Of course, will we have that pullback? I have no idea. The market looks pretty bullish right now. We might just continue soaring to the upside, but if we do pull back, then it's an opportunity to keep a close eye on. But yeah, as we can see, massive zone above us there. That's really what I'm looking to see what price can do. If things look good, we slow down, become corrective, double tops, ascending channel. I'm looking for opportunity to short that and take it right back down into lows. So yeah, as of right now, dollar yen very bullish. I think we can still push on from there, to be honest. Okay, let's take a look at Euro USD. So how far can we push down? So, well, again, I've got two levels which I'm looking at. I've got this area here, which was prior resistance there briefly. Nice break to the upside. Now we're there again. So I'm looking to see what we can do at this level. But I've also got this range down here slightly at 1.09, 1.08. So those are my two levels for Euro. How far can we push down? Well, there's kind of an infinite answer to that. We could even melt all the way down here if price really wanted to. As for my bias right now, I'm looking for something like this to happen. So I'm anticipating this to be a pullback for more upside. And yeah, I'm just going to see what price can do at my areas. That's all I can do as a trader. Find a bias, find good areas where I can trade that bias, look for good confirmations to back that bias up and take the position. Like I said, my bias is pretty bullish. I've marked out a couple of areas which look good, and we're going to see how price reacts with them. Things look good, I'll take a buy. At the moment on the 4-hour chart, things are still pretty bearish, so again, I wouldn't be surprised if we do keep falling. Yes, we left a bit of a wick into that zone, but again, that doesn't really mean much. It's not going to trigger me into a position. We could easily fill that with the next candle and see some more downside. So yeah, if that level doesn't hold, well, I do have a level just below us at 1.095, which also looks pretty good. And again, potentially could see price turn around from there. So just about timing things right now with Euro. But how far could we push down? Difficult to say. We could keep falling for a while. But these are two areas which I like, and two areas which I'm going to see what type of price actually we can get. And if we can get some healthy rejections and hopefully some entries at some stage in the week. DMAR, what is up? Were the lower lows GJ a retrace on the weekly? Okay, so you're saying was this, I think this is what you're saying, was that a retracement on the weekly for this move and now perhaps a continuation? That could be the case. That could be the case with GJ. Again, difficult to say until it does happen if that was the case or not. Again, as I've said, I've been looking to try and short GJ, catch the low highs in this area for a push down. If price does go and break structure now and takes out this high, well, then we probably are going to see a swing back to the high, and we probably are going to see this as a correction potentially for a push back up again. So that could be the case for GJ. Again, the key thing is how can we trade that? Well, ideally, with hindsight, trying to catch the lows here. Next best way to trade that is try and find some pullbacks within this area here, and still within this area here, if price can pull back there, that could be a nice trade. Or wait for price to break structure and maybe catch some breakouts or some retests beyond that as well. So that's kind of how you could look to trade that bias if we are going to push through. Of course, things are looking pretty bullish right now. If price takes out structure, well then the bearish bias I had has been completely invalidated. And then from then onwards, I'll be looking for a pushback to the high at 199.650. So it could be the case, but again, we're not to know until it actually does happen. Just like with anything, I can have a very confident bias on a particular setup, but again, we're not to know if price is actually going to do that until it does. But I would say if we can break structure here to the upside, then the likelihood is that we do continue to rally back to highs there. So there might be a nice breakout there. Meant for where can we start looking? Oh, okay, bias again for Euro USD is still bullish for longer term. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I'm still, like I said, I'm still pretty bullish on Euro USD longer term. I am still looking at, I should go to the monthly chart. I'm still looking at the massive rejection of support we had here earlier in the year. Price came back into this area, strong reaction. I am looking at price pushing down and having a bit of a continuation of that. So I am still bullish. I'm keeping a close eye on this kind of area of supply because that's kind of what triggered this move to the downside in the first place. So as we do come back into this area, well, I'll be a bit cautious because, didn't mean to do that. I will be a bit cautious because we are putting in lower highs, and I would be weary that we could put another lower high and come back down in as well. So I would be a bit cautious of that happening. But as of now, yeah, I'm still pretty bullish on Euro. At least just swing it back to where we came from. I think that's a good chance of that happening. Those are the two levels I'm interested in, but we'll see if price can hold them. At the moment, not looking too good there, but again, things can change very quickly. And if it does break, I do have that level beyond it, which again, it could be a blessing for that to happen because you could argue that you're positioned better. Risk to reward potentially could be better as well. So it might even be the better option that we have a bit more retracement there for Euro before buying. But yeah, I do think there's more upside to be had here for Euro. I'm still pretty bearish with the dollar. I see that as doing pretty much the opposite. So DXY wise, we've had a big push down. I'm looking at now potentially price recovering some of this momentum to push down again. So that's kind of what I'll be expecting for Euro as well. What's up, Ameth Diallo? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing good. So yeah, I'm going to go through some of the pairs I'm looking to trade this week. Again, some of them have been crossed off the watch list, to be honest, because of some moves. Or at least potentially crossed off, not just yet. I mean, for example, pound yen is not technically crossed off the watch list just yet. We're looking very, very bullish right now, but we haven't really broken through any structure just yet. We've still got the high here, which still can give us a big sell again, and we can still sell off, but the likelihood is that we probably do take up the highs there. So I'll probably be crossing off pound yen from the watch list. I've been looking to short it. I was looking for a double top at the start of the week here, but looks like we're rallying straight through that, so I'm going to have to put that to one side. Euro yen as well. I was stopped out break even last week. So I was looking to potentially re-enter this one. But at this moment in time, again, looks like we're about to break through structure here. This was a very important swing, which gave us a big drop there, and looks like price is on its way to potentially taking that out as well. So again, that will nullify my bearish bias. New Zealand CAD still looks good though, so I'm still interested in buying this one on a nice double bottom. We've got support down here, which I'm looking to see if price can come back and retest, and that's where I'll look for re-entries to take it back up again. And the idea with the trade is that we've had a massive sell-off a few weeks back, and then price recovered very aggressively. And we've come back to retest this trend line and support. So the expectation is that, okay, price has been chugging to the upside. This here was potentially a massive kind of fake out to the downside, breaking through the trend line, but then we quickly recovered. Now we came back to hold support there, the trend line. So again, if price can respect that again, double bottom, there's a good chance that we continue this uptrend, push back to highs, and probably beyond that as well. So I still very much like the idea of buying New Zealand CAD. It's still firmly on the watch list. I did actually have a trade on this one last week over here, but again, I was taking out break even. Had a lot of break evens recently. Had some nice rallies, but yeah, just seen some pullbacks or reversals that really just didn't see the momentum I was looking for. So I was long in New Zealand CAD last week, but again, I was taking out break even there as well. But I am looking to see if I can re-enter at 0.818, find some entries there, nice double bottom, and hopefully capitalize on the same trade, but this time maybe with a better entry even, maximize my risk reward with that position. But yeah, the idea is to swing it back to highs. I did have Aussie CHF and New Zealand CHF on my watch list, but I've taken both of them off because it looks like they've moved without me. Again, Aussie CHF, I was in a long position with this one, but again, unfortunately, just got taken out. Break even with this one, as we can see, just came back, take me out break even before price does rally. Again, it's difficult to completely avoid those opportunities and not opportunities, those situations. If you are going to go break even, it's not to maximize your gains. Break even isn't there to help you make more money. Break even is there to help you get out of potential losing positions from a winning standpoint. If you're already winning in the market and price has gone in your favor, you don't want that position to now become a loser, hence why you go break even or maybe take partials off. And that's what's happened here. We price broke structure. I was already long from here. We already saw a new high, so I didn't want this to now become a losing position. In this case, I was very unfortunate. It did take me out of the trade, and now price is rallying to the upside. So I was looking for a re-entry coming to the start of the week because we were trading over here. Of course, we've had the gap and prices rallied, but I was looking to see if potentially we could double bottom, get back into a position in a similar area, capture next higher low in the sequence, and one over there, second, third, fourth, hopefully catch another higher low and then take it back to resistance and so on and so forth as well. But unfortunately, price just started off way too bullish, and New Zealand CHF as well. Same idea with this one as well. I was looking for price to come back into support there, retest that level, and then go long from that. But now that we already smashed into resistance there, I highly doubt that we do see price get back here again. Maybe it does happen, so I'm not going to rule it out completely, but I feel like as soon as price does take up the high, well, that does scrap the bias as well. But I've been looking for New Zealand CHF to see a lot more upside. I've been looking for price to get back to 0.50800, 0.51 we'll call it. Again, just because price come back from all-time lows. I've been saying that with the CHF pairs quite a lot. When they do sell off aggressively, get to all-time lows, well, there's only one way, there's only one direction for them, and that's back up again. If you look throughout history of the price action for Aussie CHF and New Zealand CHF, every time these guys do make a new all-time low, the market springs back to the upside quite aggressively as well. You can see very sharp spike and very sharp recovery. It doesn't waste time. So as soon as I saw price do this again early in the year, that completely just set my bias for me, looking to buy it back up again. Unfortunately, just got taken out break even. In another alternate universe, maybe I would have still be in that position, but unfortunately was taken out break even. There might be another opportunity, so I might still get a chance to get back into a long, but at the moment looking very bullish, and we might just continue to fly away there. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. Again, a few USD pairs I'm looking at as well. So Euro, Pound, Aussie Dollar, Dollar CAD. They're still a little bit away from some entries, but potentially some this week. So not that far. Ameth, thoughts on the breakout? How about going long dollar yen right now? Great content, by the way. Thank you, appreciate it. I'll go through dollar yen for you. I'm not really a fan of taking buys on breakout or sells on breakouts for that matter. I don't really trade breakouts myself. Not that they don't work, it's just that I don't really have much experience with them. From the start of my journey, I never really looked at breakouts, to be fair. I just never really traded them. I've always been taught about breaking retests, and from my first day in trading, that's really what I've been practicing, breaking retests, and to this day I still trade like that. So breakouts just never something I've really entertained, to be honest. Particularly the market like Forex, I don't think breakouts are the best for Forex because we do chop around a lot. It's very rarely you see momentum like this, which is great for breakouts. We crack support, you take the sell, boom, the market drops. These are the best conditions for breakouts, and it's very, very, very rare we see that in FX. If you just look here, you could argue there is one, but after that we kind of chop around. When the market does take a low out, it does tend to revert back up. So I don't think breakouts are particularly great in FX. I feel like conditions are maybe up against you a little bit. Not that you can't be profitable with breakouts or in FX. It's just that you have to be very, very particular, very accurate with breakouts. I feel like maybe indices will be a bit better. I think gold will be a bit better as well. Even crypto probably. I feel like you probably have a bit better success with breakout strategies in those markets. In terms of dollar yen, I would keep an eye on a break and retest because we've seen some nice bullish structure now. Lovely break to the upside there, of course. I wouldn't buy now. I know momentum is very present in the market. We probably could still see more upside, but there's no really effective place for a stop loss either. If momentum starts to kind of consolidate, well, I don't know where I would put my stop loss. You could argue you can have your stop loss here, but I think you're very vulnerable there. You wouldn't want to have your stop loss there because your risk reward would be completely skewed. So I wouldn't say there's an area which I would like to have my stop loss in, which of course is kind of why I would like price to retrace and come back to retest level like this, come back to retest structure, and then I've got an effective place to put my stop loss, which is below the level. Of course, not that I will be completely immune to getting stopped out and your stop loss will be indestructible there. Of course, you could still get stopped out, but at least the market's got to have to work a little bit harder to get your stop. It has to break that level essentially. And of course, you got a better risk reward there as well. If you can refine your entry to something like this, well, if you can push to the upside, it allows you a lot more bang for your buck there. So no, I wouldn't take a buy now. That's not my trading style. I would wait for a retest of structure, plot a buy opportunity there and a buy. Of course, you could argue we probably won't see that pullback just because we're so bullish right now. Maybe we just continue. That's true as well. But again, trading's not always about just trading the opportunity, not missing out. It's about taking well-planned, well-organized positions with a good probability of success. And that's kind of what I'd wait for. So, that's my take on dollar yen. But yeah, I do like the buys, just I would wait for a pullback. Ivan saw solid buy opportunity in New Zealand dollar and Aussie dollar, but when I saw the 4-hour bearish engulfing, I gave up. Still looking for entry in Aussie dollar because we are at daily support, but I definitely want more confirmation for a buy. Yeah, I'm looking for a little bit more retracement for both of them before I do get long. I do prefer Aussie dollar a little bit more than New Zealand dollar, but of course they're very similar pairs, so they probably would do the same thing. But I like Aussie dollar longs as well. We've had a lovely kind of reversal here, V-shaped pattern, which has really set the bias for me in terms of, okay, I'm expecting a lot more upside now. Price was very flat for most of the year. We had that flush to the downside. Price recovered very quickly. I do think the bigger move for Aussie dollar is still very much to the upside. But since we've had that rally, price has become very corrective and just very fatigued right now. So I don't want to be buying in here because this is just where the market's very tired. I know we're coming back into support on the daily chart, even support on the 4 hour there as well. So effectively it makes sense, but just because the market's very tired, I wouldn't expect such a big swing from this area. I'd want price to kind of sell off a little bit, take out some of these lows where I know stop losses will be placed, and then that potentially could then invite a much bigger move and probably a much cleaner move as well. So for Aussie dollar, I do think there's a lot more upside to be had, but I do want us to flush the downside first, shake out some people, and then get long. I feel like that would be a much better opportunity, and kind of anywhere within 0.63, 0.62 would be a reasonable place to get long. Anywhere in here, I think would be a nice idea for the short term. I wouldn't try and hold into a position there for a long-term move because we've already had such a big move. The market's been bullish since the start of April and it hasn't really seen much retracement until now, really. So yeah, it's a nice place for a buy. I just wouldn't expect a big move from there because of how we're moving. If we could break to the downside, see some more downside, then I feel like that would be a smart place for a buy. But yeah, it does make sense. And if you are going to get long, you would wait for more confirmation. The market's still looking pretty bearish right now anyway. So perhaps a nice wick to the downside or a strong bullish engulfing candle in the 4 hour. That could be a nice trigger. But if I was to get long, I wouldn't try and take it past that high. If you're looking for that, I think that makes sense. But because of how we're correcting, I wouldn't expect another big move from Aussie dollar until we can have a bit more downside first. And then USD, I don't like this one as much because of the double top we formed. I still think there's more upside with this one as well, but we did form a double top there, which again, not necessarily a sign of continuation. So that does put me off. And of course, this morning as well, very strong bearish engulfing candle. But yeah, I'm not as attracted to the opportunity as much with New Zealand dollar. I would say this is a nice place for a buy. We do have some nice structure just below us here, prior resistance, big move down. We've broken through that since then. And we're yet to come back and use it as support as well. So I think this is a suitable place for a buy. It makes a lot of sense. And we could take that to the upside, but I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan that we've come from a double top and we're working our way down. Doesn't mean that we can't go higher, but it does reduce the quality of the setup. And when Aussie dollar looks a lot better, to me anyway, I might as well just focus on Aussie dollar rather than trade this one as well. And again, they'll probably do the same thing. But if I had to buy New Zealand dollar, 0.585 would be the zone I'll look for entries. And yeah, see if I can take it back into resistance. So I don't mind New Zealand dollar, but I think Aussie looks a lot better. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out, and it does get the content out to more people as well. So if you are enjoying the content, liking, finding it useful, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But I do really appreciate everyone who has liked the video so far. Where was I? Yusuf still thoughts on pound yen and gold on the 15. Okay, we'll take a look. Pound yen as well. Ahmed, okay. Samuel, what's up? Could you take a look at dollar CHF? Sure thing. BTC hits all-time high this week, potentially. It's been looking very, very bullish. I'll go through Bitcoin as well. Haven't actually looked at it today, so I don't know what's happening. But I did take a look on Sunday. No problem, Ivan. Happy to help. So pound, yen, and gold 15. So it is safe to say that pound yen is very bullish. So if I was on the 15, I would only be looking to buy this one. Only looking to buy. Of course, not now. We've seen a very confident rally. Now I would expect retracement, but I would only be looking to buy. So if I could see a pullback, find support, even coming back into this kind of area, I would be looking to buy it. I mean, it would be nice to see a retest of this zone here as well, 193.8. But you can see quite clearly here that pound yen is very bullish here on the 15, and we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. Yeah, this was our previous swing from that low to the high, another pullback there, and that created another swing. Perhaps this is the high. So now I want to see a pullback of that to continue to the upside. We've got highs over here, which price, in my eyes, is likely to take out. So now I just want to find the pullback so I can trade the opportunity. So pound yen 15, I'll be looking at something like this, at least back to 194.2, but even better if you can retest the high there at 193.6, just below. But yeah, I want to see some downside, nice corrective pullback, find support, look for some entries, and yeah, take it to the upside. I think there's a good chance that we are going to see new highs past this point. So from a 50-minute perspective, if I can get into some nice longs and trade that move there, trade that move back to resistance, that would make a load of sense. So yeah, very, very bullish on the 15 for pound yen. And of course, since Ahmed asked for pound yen, I'll just look at it on 4 hours as well. But yeah, from a 4-hour perspective, I was looking to short pound yen this week. I still technically am because we haven't taken out structure just yet, which is this high. I pretty much said last week that I'm looking to continue these lower highs, one over there, second, third, potentially a fourth over here as well. So I'm looking for price to sell off again, but we did not respect this resistance at all this week. We gapped to the upside, used it as support, and had another impressive rally there. So unless we can have a massive sell-off and a massive rejection there, I don't see potentially a short opportunity now with pound yen. And it looks like we probably are going to continue to rally to break through the highs down the left. So with that said, if price does break the high, well, then I will drop the bearish bias and back away. At that point, I'll probably be quite bullish. So if price can pull back, I'll actually look to find some long opportunities for it as well. But yeah, I have to admit, I am just keeping an eye on this one, really. Like I said, it was very, very bearish, looking short from the high there, but we've completely broken through that as of now anyway. And if we do take up the high there as well, well, yeah, that puts an end to that bearish bias. So yeah, I think the next best opportunity now for pound yen would just be the retest of support here to continue that momentum to the upside. Especially if we can take up the high first, then pull back. That would be nice. But yeah, pound yen looks to me like more upside is likely. And if we do break the high, well, the next level I would expect price to get to is 199.5, which would be that resistance there on the daily chart. So if I zoom out, so of course you can kind of view this as some type of descending channel. That's your breakout. Expect price to get back to the start of it, which would be the high there. So just below 200 would be the expectation. As for gold on the 15, so gold 50-minute looking very bearish. Looks like we're probably going to sweep the lows here because price did not manage to take the highs over there. We formed a lower high and we had to push back down again. So I would say gold 15 looks really good for some shorts. If price can come back anywhere in this area here, really, that range followed by that low, I think this would be a very nice place for a short and a good place, high probability place for another lower high to form and a push down. Market's been pretty good with the structure here, from the high, another lower high, another lower high, another lower high, and perhaps another one as well. And that could be a great opportunity to get short and continue the momentum as well. So pretty bearish here on gold. Yeah, pretty bearish on gold. I see more downside. If we can get a pullback before we sweep the lows here, that would be brilliant. Will it happen? I'm not too sure, but I think that'll be a smart play for a short. And yeah, 32.74 would be a great place. Nice supply there, dropped pretty hard this morning. If we were to revisit, there would be a good chance that we see that momentum kick back in and see some more downside off the back of that as well. But from a 50-minute perspective, very, very bearish on gold. I'd only be looking to sell that, but of course we do need some retracement. So that would be the plan there with gold. In terms of BTC, looking very bullish. Okay, we're flat now. Looks like momentum is slowing down, probably rightly so. We've had two distinct breakout kind of bull runs here with not much retracement. We had one over there a couple of weeks back, and then we were very sideways. Then again over there, not much retracement. Again, on the weekly analysis, I mentioned if price was to come back and revisit and test this level, I think that would be a nice place for a buy back into 98. And then again, looking for price to go and take our all-time highs, because I don't see any reason why we won't do that now. There's not any major obstacle in front of us. Momentum's still very bullish. Our last move to the downside was very, very corrective anyway. It's not like we bled to the downside very aggressively. Overall, the market was just very, very flat, very, very, very corrective. So it was a sign that market was likely to find support and break to the upside. I was calling for the buys, but we just missed the level. I said I retested the high there, looks good, but we just missed it, unfortunately. But since then, the price has been very bullish. And of course, we left behind another level where we consolidated, nice break to the upside. Again, if price would be kind enough to come back and retest that, I think that'd be a great place for an entry to trade Bitcoin, get some longs, and perhaps take that to some new all-time highs. So new all-time highs this week, potentially. Again, it's always difficult to say what's going to happen with that. You know, it could be this week, could be next week, could be the week after. I don't really like working with time horizons with price, because it's always very difficult. I mean, it's difficult enough to predict price and what we're going to do and where we're going to go. To predict it within a time just adds another layer of difficulty, which makes no difference to me. You know, if I get into a trade, it hits my take profit within a day or within a week, doesn't really make much difference as long as the take profit is hit. Of course, if it does take a week, maybe I'm paying a bit more swap, but it's not going to make a big difference to the outcome of the trade and the return of it, really, unless you're trading some heavy swap pairs. So yeah, whether it takes a day or a week doesn't really bother me too much, but I think in terms of if we are going to see new all-time highs, I think there's a likely chance now based on the market structure, based on momentum. I think more buys look good. So yeah, a retest of this structure I think is a solid opportunity for a long. No problem, happy to help. Check Dollar Yen. Why is everyone requesting Dollar Yen today? Dollar Yen seems to be very, very popular. Very, very popular, but I'll run through it quickly. No problem, Yusuf, happy to help. But yeah, Dollar Yen very bullish, strong break to the upside. As I said, I think just some pullbacks, break and retest make the most sense. Yeah, I mean, I talked about at this and on the weekend on my weekly analysis. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go do so. But I talked about potentially price coming back to retest this zone here at 144. That could be a nice place for a buy because we were very consistent with the higher lows. 1, 2, 3, perhaps a fourth one we could print and then see the continuation. But no, the market was very bullish this week. Well, so far this week. This week's only just started. We had the gap to the upside, and then price has flown since then. So the only opportunity I see really with Dollar Yen would just be a pullback into 146 again. Find some entries there. Plot a stop loss below the low, nice and safe, and then capitalize on a buy. Long term, I'm actually pretty bearish with Dollar Yen. I actually am looking to short this long term. We've got a massive level of resistance here on the weekly chart. And if price can get there, reject that well, I think that's a great place to short the market and potentially see another lower high. We've got one over there, we've got a second over there, potentially a third over here, which is kind of lining up with that resistance level. And I think that would be a great place to short it back down. If price does, of course, rally through this, breaks the upside, well then I'll stand corrected and I'll move away from that. But yeah, I'm pretty bullish short-term Dollar Yen. I feel like we can push into 149, 150. It's just whether the price will pull back enough for us to actually trade that. But once we start getting back into 149, 150, well, that's now bearish territory again. And I'll keep an eye for some shorts. But for now, that is the play. Dollar CHF, I completely forgot about that pair. Yeah, Sam, who you asked, Dollar CHF, I forgot about it. If I have missed out a pair, just let me know. If someone dropped a chat about a pair which I just have missed out, let me know. But I will go through Dollar CHF now. So yeah, Dollar CHF looking very bullish. Of course, another USD pair. So we're seeing that strength kind of throughout the market. And Dollar CHF looking very, very strong, and rightly so. The market has had a massive move to the downside without much retracements, taking up major lows. I do think Dollar CHF is likely to retrace anyway. I think long term, there's still room to the downside for this to fall. I'm looking at support over here, which I'm pretty sure is the all-time low support. If I zoom out, yeah, I'm pretty sure. It goes back to 1971, so it's definitely a major support level. But yeah, I still do think there's more downside to be had with Dollar CHF in the long term. But at the moment now, we've had a massive flush to the downside. I feel like price is going to retrace a little bit, form some highs, and then roll over back down again. So this is what I do see with Dollar CHF in the long term. So right now, we're pushing back up. I'm expecting a lower high to form, and that's the trade I'm after personally. So still looking to short Dollar CHF, but just not yet. I feel like we're in retracement mode right now. The key question is where could we retrace to before selling off? Well, I'm looking at support here, and I'm looking at support here, which of course will be flipped as resistance. So these are two fairly biggish levels, significant levels, where price can come into, potentially reject, form a lower high, and come back down again. So Dollar CHF long term bearish, but short term, of course, bullish right now. I like the way we broke to the upside here through this range. I would suggest if Dollar CHF does retrace here, that would be a nice place for a buy and a swing to the upside. We've got one swing low here, we've got a second swing low there. We could go and see a third one on a retest potentially, maybe spike into a trend line as well. And then we can ride that to the upside. But as soon as we come back into 0.86 and 0.875, 0.88, well, then I'm bearish again, looking to try and short it back down, because I still think we get back to that daily support just underneath us. Monthly support, sorry. So, yeah, Dollar CHF long-term very bearish, looking for that monthly continuation, monthly support just below us there. But, of course, right now, kind of going through somewhat of a reverse on the lower time frames. I really like the price action. Had a range over there, flushed the downside, probably trapped some people on the wrong side, broke to the upside again, nice range. Now I see momentum come back into the market. So a retest of some kind would be great for a buy. Will this retest happen? I have no idea. Momentum looks very bullish right now, so probably not, to be honest. It's going to take a lot of momentum to get us back down. But again, that's trading for you. You know, you can spot an opportunity, but will it actually develop? Will it actually happen? Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. When it does form, make sure you're there to take the trade. If it doesn't form, well, there's not much you can do about that. On to the next one, pretty much. Maybe there was an opportunity you missed, you could have got in earlier, so reflect on that. But if there wasn't, some setups are just not meant to be, and this might be one of them. So, yeah, I would say keep an eye on the break and retest, but other than that, I'm getting ready for some shorts around 0.86. and 0.88, and then we'll go from there. That's pretty much my take on all USD pairs for now. Dollar CAD, looking for a push up before I sell it. These are my two areas which I'm looking to short from. So basically same idea as Dollar CHF. Price support, both will be flipped resistance. Nice swing to the downside. We've got one high there, second lower high there. Well, I'm looking for a third one now for a continuation, so same idea there as well. Euro USD, same idea, but the flip basically. Nice push up, looking for a high low for a buy. Pound USD, Looking for a high low for a buy. Aussie dollar. Looking for a higher low down here again for a buy. So again, very, very bearish long-term dollar, but we could very much see another week or two of strength for the dollar. I'm looking at the DXY. I've marked out two levels which I like for a sell, this one and that one. At the moment, we are testing this level right now, but we are looking very bullish still. Not much sign of rejection, to be honest, so just staying prepared. Maybe we do turn around and reject this level. Maybe we just continue to break through. Price action will tell me what it wants to do. But if it does clear this level, no love lost, then I'll start to look at 103.5, 104, and perhaps I see the sell I'm after from there. But yeah, that's the plan for now. Yusuf, I also added dollar yen to my list, looking for longs on it too on the 15, but it's too extended. Yeah, I feel like the market's already had its fun. The retracement could come. Again, the last thing you want to do is rule out retracement because, you know, sometimes markets look very, very bullish, but then they retrace, and then you don't want to, you know, forget about the market, and then it does retrace, and it does give you a setup, because the market's always going to provide you surprises. A move you didn't expect to see happens. You know, that could be the case. So always stay prepared for that. The great thing about TradingView and other platforms as well, you can literally just set an alert at a particular level which you want to buy from. You can go about your day. If the alert is not triggered, you won't get an alert. If it is triggered, well, you know, you've got an opportunity in your hands there. Yeah, dollar yen looks very bullish. It's too extended, I would say, for buyers. Really, you need some retracement. So yeah, I would keep an eye on it, but yeah, we'll see if it does retrace for us. Colon Euro USD. Okay, I'll quickly go through that one. No problem, Ahmed. Happy to help. Emanuele. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Euro pound. Okay, I haven't actually looked at that one yet, so I will go through that one as well. But yeah, it's the same idea for Euro USD basically. I'm looking to buy this one because I do think more upside is on the way. This is kind of my long-term target for price to get back into this range here. This is the range which funded that move in 2022. I do think price can go back and retest that. We've had a really exceptional big move to the upside here on the weekly chart. I'm looking at price retracing, finding a higher low and continuing back to the upside. I marked out two areas where we could find the buy. This level here being 1.115, and this consolidation there being the second area. At the moment, this first area not providing much support, so potentially might just drop straight through that, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, I'm looking to see what we can do in these two areas for the buys. This is where I'm interested to take Euro long from. I said earlier in the stream, I kind of do prefer the second level a little bit more. It's a little bit further down. We'll retrace a little bit more. Risk to reward is a bit better. So I would like to see price push down a little bit further. And it's kind of further away from resistance as well, because we do have that level just above us there. If we could have price retrace a little bit further, well, it gives you a bit more room to work with. So I kind of would prefer us to push down, but I'll keep an eye on that level. But this would definitely be my more preferred zone. But yeah, I'm looking at both these areas for some buys, and again, the plan is to take it back to where we came from, back into resistance up there, because I'm looking for the continuation. So that's really what I'm looking at for Euro right now. Not interested in selling it anymore. We've seen the downside we're after. Now it's about trying to pick the lows and where could we turn around from. And yeah, I'm looking at the same thing on the dollar as well. If I take a look at Euro pound, so Euro pound is actually not a bad opportunity. I think this is coming to a nice place for a buy. It does look like price is potentially breaking through this area, but the day is still young. We still got another 10 hours, 11 hours, 10 and a half hours actually before this candle does close. But we are coming into a nice area for a buy. You can see the market structure here for Euro pound: low, high, and potentially forming another higher low. I said this week this could be a nice area for a buy. If this area doesn't hold, well, then I'll look at the range here just below us. This is where we had all the momentum to the upside. I think this would be a nice place for a buy. Now, I'm not looking for Euro Pound to continue this market structure, so I'm not looking to take Euro Pound back to highs. Euro Pound isn't a pair which you're looking to try and follow a trend here, because the market really struggles with trending conditions. You can see since 2016, the market has been very, very flat. So it's not a market which you're trying to follow trends and take momentum. It's more of a market which you're trying to buy low, sell high, pick strong levels, buy from there, and take your profit at resistance type of market. Of course, over here we had some nice trends, but for the past almost a decade, we haven't had that. So we gotta adjust to what the market's giving us. But at the moment, there's some nice bullish structure here. I think this is a solid place for a buy. If this first level doesn't hold, then I'm looking at 0.838 down at this zone here. I think that's a nice smart place for a buy. In terms of targets, well, I'm looking at this level here. I feel like the market's respected this quite well. Support, support, resistance, resistance. I feel like that would be a smart place to target for a take profit. Of course, you could have targets at the highs there if you want to, but I would heavily suggest maybe trading a stop loss or taking partials along the way, because Euro Pound is just a very tricky pair to try and swing. It consolidates a lot. It doesn't really trend well, at least for the past decade. So you're asking for a lot of trouble there. But in terms of a smart place for an entry, well, yeah, I like a 0.844. We'll see what we can do. So far, things look very bearish. There's no signal here for a reversal just yet, so I would not touch the market. But if we keep falling into 0.838, see some wicks, maybe some strong shift momentum, like a strong bullish engulfing candle, I think that's a great entry for a buy, and then we can go from there. But yeah, pretty bullish on this one, pretty bullish. This is the area which we want to be looking to buy from. No problem, happy to help. I'm going to quickly take a look at some of the other indices. I had a look at S&P earlier. Wow, look at that for NAS. So yeah, this is pretty significant for NAS. NAS was on the weekly analysis. It was the bonus pair this weekend. I said we're coming to a very pivotal area for NAS 100 right now, because this is an area where we could really sell off from, or an area which we could break and potentially rally from. I said that because, of course, we've been in a bit of a bearish cycle recently. Price of that swing to the downside. We broke the 200. This moving average is the 200 moving average. 200 moving average, by the way. We broke through that, retested it. Nice drop to the downside there, creating new lows. And we pull back into the 200, also pull back into that lower high there. This is an area which we could form a lower high and could continue back down. So I said from a short perspective, from a seller's perspective, this is a nice place to be keeping an eye for a short. Equally, if price does break through this, that's a very, very bullish signal to me. And at that point, I would be expecting us just to swing back to the all-time highs. And of course, currently, we've had a pretty big gap to the upside, and we're looking very bullish. Of course, we still got about 10 hours left before this daily candle will close, and a lot can happen in that time. But if we do close if we close similar to how we're looking right now, well, I do think we're just on a one-way path right back to the highs at that point. So I would suggest in the lower time frames, you're looking for intraday pullbacks, retest structure, and you're just taking your buys. Ooh, that didn't come out well. Taking your buys and riding momentum back to highs at that point. So NAS to me looking very, very bullish. This looks like it wants to continue higher. And I feel like it will. I'll wait for the daily candle to close and really confirm things, but it's looking like we've got more room to push into. And the S&P, which we had a look at earlier, doing the exact same thing as well. Of course, I'd wait for the candle to close first, but again, it's breaking above the 200, breaking above prior resistance, that lower high there as well. Significant move. I do feel that price, again, can still push through. The Dow Jones, I believe, is lagging behind a little bit. Yeah, so this is coming to the 200 now, coming into some structure on the left. So again, I would expect US 30 to follow NAS and follow S&P, so I highly doubt that the Dow Jones will have a sell-off, but S&P and NAS continue pushing. So we're probably going to see US 30 as well, right to the upside there too. And again, that'll be a strong bullish indication technically, and I'll be looking at that back to highs. So it's looking like a very bullish US indice situation right now. Again, I'll wait for those candle closures on the daily to confirm things, but from an intraday point of view, I'd only be looking to try and buy those. No problem, Emanuele, happy to help. Colon, in which JPY or USD market could one enter right now? Again, it's not a good idea just to be looking for a trade right now, Colin, because you're not trading to trade, you're trading to make a quick buck, which again is not something long term. So I'd never try and advocate for a trade right now. If I'm in a trade, then I'll share that trade. I'm not in any positions right now. I can share a few setups, which I think look good, but I don't really have an idea to press the trigger right now. And again, it wouldn't be shared for good reasons as well, just because you want to find a trade quite quickly, which is never a good reason to take a trade. But a couple pairs which look good. I think GJ buys look good, kind of like hourly chart, 4-hour chart, if you could see some pullback. So let me get rid of that. So of course we had a nice break to the upside. Momentum looks good. It looks like JPY weakness might be looking to stay. So a retest of the structure here, it looks good for a buy. So 193.7, you can probably drop to the hourly for some entries there. I think dollar yen looks pretty good for a buy as well. If it does retrace, back to test that structure there as well. And I like the look of New Zealand yen as well. That one looks pretty good for a buy. Solid break to the upside as well. A retest of this structure here looks really good for a buy at 86.5. So I think that looks like a nice opportunity. Dollar CHF I think looks really good for a buy as well. Again, there's a lot of momentum right now, so it's difficult to take any buys or sells because momentum has come and gone. Well, not gone yet, but it has come into the market. And ideally, you kind of already want to be in the trade, not buying at the highest hit. But dollar CHF again looks good for a pullback. Retest some structure there. I like the longs there as well. I think those are good for trades right now. Of course, I'm looking for some buys on euro, but we might be pushing through that zone, so that might take a few days to set up. But those pairs I just shared look pretty good. But again, you have to be patient. You have to wait for price to come to you first before you do find any entries there. Antonio, welcome to the stream. Long time no see. Hope you're well. I am glad to have you on the stream. Hope you've been keeping well. Hope you've been doing good. But glad to have you back. Yusuf, but please, what strategy do you suggest I should learn when market isn't giving you a big pullback? I was backtesting you on GU in 2023 and the trend were not giving me a big pullback for me to have. Yeah, well, of course, again, if the market is pushing a lot and not pulling back, well, there's not a lot you can do. It's either you find a strategy that will take you into aggressive entries. That's essentially what it is. Because if you have a trend in the market and the market is moving nicely and you're catching some of these bigger pullbacks, well, these are not very aggressive entries because the market is at a discount. We've had a prolonged move to the downside. We're close to the higher low in the market, so this is not very an aggressive entry. If the market is pushing like this and seeing minimal pullbacks, well, buying here is pretty aggressive because you're banking that momentum is still going to keep going, still pushing. So it's an aggressive. You're getting on the front foot of the trend there. And that's essentially what it is. The strategy is not very different. You're still looking for your bullish engulfing candle, you're still looking for wicks, still looking for momentum to shift, but you're being very aggressive with it. For example, this could be a very aggressive entry, a nice engulfing candle like this. Of course, in this case, it didn't play out, but the idea was that, okay, we're not seeing much pullback, so I'm just going to buy into this bullish engulfing candle with the expectation that momentum will continue. Like I said, of course, in this case, it didn't play out, but that's the type of entries you'd be looking to take if you're not going to see much pullback. In this case, it did play out. Price was very sideways, pulled back a little bit further. Again, it did play out, nice swing to the upside, but in this case, it didn't work out too much. Afterwards, we already had a much bigger pullback then on. So if the market's very aggressive and not giving you much pullbacks, it's the same idea. I think a good strategy would be like double bottoms and double tops, kind of essentially like what happened here. Price formed support here, came back to retest it, and then a push. So I would say double bottoms, double tops are good strategies for kind of being aggressive. But the entry, the technique is all pretty much the same. It's just that you're getting in a lot earlier and just expecting that momentum to continue. So there's not much difference. It's just you're getting in a lot more aggressively. It's the same entry techniques. I probably keep an eye for like double tops and double bottoms. I think they're quite powerful and probably can keep you out of some losing positions as well. Yeah, if you're seeing a lot of momentum in the market, then you can use that strategy well. But you don't want to use it when the market is like this, when it's chopping around like this. You don't want to be getting to aggressive trend following ideas, because there is no aggressive trend to follow anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. But of course, 22, 23, when we had this very nice trend, there wasn't much pullbacks. There were some nice break and retests over here as well. That was a beautiful trade there. But yeah, I don't really look to trade shallow pullbacks in my style, because again, I do trade a wide range of markets, so there's no need for me, because there's normally enough opportunities for me anyway. But if I had to, I'd probably be looking for some aggressive double tops and bottoms and jumping in positions that way. Happy to help, J-Zone. No problem, Colin. Happy to help. But it's a good point though, Yusuf, because if you are looking for those bigger pullbacks, those breaking retests, breaking retests don't always happen. I'll probably say about maybe 60% of the time you'll probably get a breaking retest. If a market breaks level well, probably about 60% of the time we actually will come back for a retest. That's just a rough estimate off the top of my head. More often than not, it does break and retest, but of course there'll be really good opportunities. Oh, just hit the mic there. There will be really good opportunities which you really like, and yeah, price just doesn't come back for a retest in that situation. And again, that's trading as well. It's not always going to be opportunities here. Sometimes you're going to go through spells where there's not many opportunities, and then you go through spells where there's a lot of opportunities, and you have to be careful you don't overtrade, just because there's so many opportunities there as well. And that's a part of trading as well. But if you want to be aggressive, nothing wrong with that, but you have to use it in the right conditions. Basically, when the market looks like this is when you want to use it. If the market's a bit more flat like that, do not use it, because that is one way to give back a lot of your profits to the market. How is New Zealand CAD doing? I'll probably say New Zealand CAD is my favorite opportunity right now. So I'm keeping my focus a lot on this pair right now, because I'm looking for the double bottom here for a buy. And as long as we can respect that level, I stay bullish. I'm looking for the buy. Again, as I've said, the analysis behind this is basically the V-shaped pattern we've seen. Strong impulse to the downside, strong recovery. Now I'm looking for the correction of that for continuation. So there's your impulse. This is kind of your bear flag of that, or bull flag, sorry. And now I'm looking for the market to continue to the upside off the back of that. So I'm really liking this one. Like I said, I was long this one last week, but it did take me out for a break even. I had the entry here. It was looking really good at some point, but momentum did shift against me and then did trail me out the position. But hopefully I can get back in, possibly with a better entry and similar targets as well. But yeah, New Zealand CAD's probably my favorite pair at the moment. Yeah, definitely my favorite pair at the moment. Again, I did like the look of Aussie CHF. I did like the look of New Zealand CHF, but they've left me in the dust a little bit. Looking very, very bullish. I was looking to see if I can get another entry on this area, but yep, we gapped to the upside on Monday, which is today, and price has rallied very aggressively since then. And New Zealand CHF, same situation here as well. Gap to the upside, looking pretty bullish, back into resistance. Maybe we do sell off and come back down again. Maybe we do that, maybe we don't. Again, just got to wait and see. If we do get there, need to make sure I'm there to take the trade. If we don't, well, I will make sure I keep an eye on the next opportunity. But in terms of my watch list, New Zealand CAD looks good. I'm keeping an eye on, of course, the USD pairs as well. Again, pound yen, euro yen shorts I was looking to take this week. Pound CAD as well. Pound CAD was on the watch list, but we had a gap, and then price looks like it's kind of filled the gap a little bit there. So it looks like I missed the opportunity for that one. I was looking for price to push back into resistance here, then short the high. Because the idea is that I'm looking for another lower high here. We've got 1, 2, I'm looking at 3, but I was looking for us to double top it and then push down. So I can get an entry like this, stops above the high, really maximize risk reward, then take it back into support. But we've just missed the level. We had a gap to the downside, price filled the gap almost, and now it's kind of rolling over. So I feel like I probably missed the boat here for pound CAD. And I don't want to chase anything either. I could arguably get an entry there and just put my stop above the high, and then take the trade, but you can see how much that skews the risk reward by 1.83. It's not the worst in the world, but again, ideally I want to be waiting for price to retest my levels, find entries there, and I could be looking at 1 to 5, 1 to 6, potentially even more, depending on the entry as well. So if it isn't going to show up, then I'm not going to try and force things. But pound CAD was on the watch list as well, still is. But I feel like I might have missed the boat for this one. But the idea for pound CAD, and the reason why I'm looking to sell, is because we've had a bullish trend for quite a while now, since the low here back in September 2022. The price has been rallying since then without much of a pullback, and it's been very, very corrective. It's not like it's been a healthy trend where we've seen a lot of momentum. It's been a very slow, grindy move to the upside. So that's a really big sign of a trend that is probably going to come to an end pretty soon. And when it does, it's probably going to have a pretty big sell as well. So that's why I really like the look of it. And the reason why I think the sell could happen now is because we've just taken out some major highs to the left here. So price is not only very stretched, it's very corrective, and it's taken out major highs on the weekly chart. So this is a market that's very stretched and is overdue a push down. And now we're getting a lot of wicks, a lot of rejection to the upside here. It's a clear sign that we're struggling at highs. And there's a good chance we could look to rally, fall here. So that's why I like the look of pound CAD shorts, even though the trend is up. In this case, I'm happy to go counter trend because I've got those things that make sense and that are in my favor. So I was looking to see if I can catch a short of this level this week. I'll still keep an eye on it, of course. But that is a move which I was looking to trade there. We'll see if we can get that. But yeah, pound CAD shorts, pound yen, euro yen. But again, with the momentum we've seen, it's kind of skewed a lot of things up for me. New Zealand CAD still looks very good, so I'm going to keep an eye on that one. USD pairs, I'm just going to wait for them to shape up. Euro USD longs, I'll wait for this one to shape up, either this level. So keep an eye on both of them, both those levels a lot. Aussie dollar, I like the longs as well, so I'm going to keep a very close eye on that too. 0.63 looks really good to me. I think price is likely to continue to bleed to the downside here. We've been in this ascending channel for quite a while. Again, ascending channels are not a sign of healthy trends, healthy momentum. If a market is an ascending channel, especially for a long time, it's a market that is going to break to the downside most likely, and probably do it for a lot of momentum. Of course, not all the time, but there's a good chance we will. So I do think price is likely to break down, especially when we've already come from a very strong move. I do think the market's quite stretched as well. So Aussie dollar favoring to break the downside. I'm still looking for more dollar strength as well. But as soon as we come back down to 0.63, 0.62, that's when I'll switch the bias and then look, see if I can find some longs to take it back into resistance and probably further than that as well. So the long-term bias is still pretty bullish. And yeah, that's kind of roughly where I'm at. Alex, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Is it important to get the right mindset, consciousness, and discipline to trade, analyze the graphics? Yeah, of course, 100%. If your mind's not in the right place, you'll be garbage. Um, it's as plain as that. And again, trading is a performance-based profession. So if your mindset is not in a good place, well, your performance is going to be rubbish. And again, I always compare trading to sports because it's a similar situation where you're performing. Of course, sports is very physical. This is not physical, but it's the same situation as in you've got performance. If your mind's not there, if you look at any sports in the world, pretty much, if the mindset's not there, even the best of players can still have very, very poor performance because maybe they're going through a bit of a bad period. Mindset's not quite there, making silly mistakes. You can do that very much in trading. Even if you got a great strategy and you're a great trader yourself, if your mindset's not there, if your discipline's not there, well, it's not going to come out good in trading as well. So that's why trading is so difficult, because not only do you have to have a good reading of the market and be able to deploy your strategy well into the market and trade it well, you've also got to keep up a good mindset as well, which is why it's good to take breaks and why it's good to journal as well, so you can reflect and track your performance and track where you're at right now. Because if you go into the market blindly, well, your results are going to mirror that as well. So yeah, very, very important to make sure that you're in a good place to trade. And it's not that you're the most confident person in the world, although that would help, I would say. But it's just the mindset of knowing that, okay, anything can happen. I know my strategy well. I know how to deploy the strategy for positive returns. I know that any trade I take could fail. Any trade I take could win. I know what I'm doing in terms of my plan. I know how I want to enter, how I want to exit, and exactly what I want to see before I take a trade. If you can have that with confidence, then naturally your mindset will be in a good place. Maybe if you're coming off the back of some drawdown or a losing streak, maybe you'll be a little bit in doubt because of that. And again, maybe you want to take a week off and just recharge and come back. But yeah, if you've got those things down, then that will give you a good basis for your mindset and for your discipline as well. Alex, yes, we'll take a look at oil for you, no problem. No problem, mate, no problem. I have to apologize. Supreme, what's your opinion on changing the chart colors to more neutral color? It helps control motion. Yeah, I mean, I've done that before, to be honest. I'm not too sure it helps control emotions, to be honest. Maybe a little bit, but I've done it before. And if you're an emotional person, you're still gonna be emotional because there's money on the line. It's not like, okay, the colors take away the fact that you can see your profit floating up and down. You know, that's really where the emotion comes from. Of course, you see a big bearish engulfing candle, that will spark some emotion. If it's a neutral color, that probably won't spark as much emotion. But the real emotion in trading is when you get into a position. And when you're in that position and money's moving up and down, that's when the emotions really fly. And of course, colors won't really do anything with that. But yeah, I would argue it would help maybe in terms of not jumping into a trade so quickly, because maybe you look at it for what it is a bit more and you're not so concerned about, okay, it's a big red candle or a big green candle. So yeah, I would argue it can help from that, but I wouldn't say it's a huge difference. I don't think there is a trick you could use that would just solve your emotions. Maybe small tricks here and there that can help reduce it a little bit, like the color technique. But it won't fix the problems. That's the main point I'm trying to explain. It will help a little bit, but not a great deal. And again, that's just my opinion anyway. Maybe some other people it helps a lot more. Okay, I'll take a look at oil. So yeah, oil looking very, very bullish at the moment. I was looking at this area for potentially some sells, but nope, looks like momentum is still holding pretty strong. And it looks like we kind of gained pace as well, which is not really what I wanted to see. I want to see lose pace, if anything. We were pretty corrective on the way up, but if we could kind of slow down even more, well, that would be a great sign that the market's likely to turn and push down. But we've picked up pace, if anything, so that's not a good characteristic at all. But we're still in the supply zone, so I will still keep an eye. But at this point, I think we probably would rally through, to be honest. Again, the key thing I'm still keeping an eye on for oil is that 66 levels. Is it 66? Yeah, 66. So that's still the main level I'm looking at for oil. Once we get there again, that's the prime area for shorts. Such a big level, significant level in higher time frames. If price can respect that well, I think that's a great place to short it from. And on the other side of the coin as well, if price does break through this, I think it's a great place to look for break and retest and plot some longs from as well. If price does get back above this level, that's a great place to buy from too. So make or break level with oil in terms of the long-term bias of oil. Like I said, this was an area which I suggested that could be a nice place for a sell. Again, on paper, really nice consolidation, a lot of momentum. It did look good for a short, but momentum has picked up. So I would back away now from that area. Unless we see some really strong rejection out of somewhere, I think we probably will break through this consolidation. So with that said, now 66 becomes the focus. So depends how we get there, how we react. If things look good, perhaps some shorts can come around. If we continue to rally through, well, then you're looking at a retest for some buys. It's a big level either way, so the buys or sells look equally as good. But yeah, we'll see what price does there. But yeah, I'm still short bias because we're below the level. As long as price is below this level here, I'm short bias, looking for more downside. If price was to break above, then I'll switch the bias around. But at the moment, yeah, looking for some upside. And then we'll see how price reacts to that level. And hopefully some shorts can come around from that as well. Stocks are pretty strong. Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia. Do you know why that is? Is it too late to buy and hold for the long term? Well, I suppose the market's up in general. I feel like maybe tensions between China and US might be coming to an ease. So maybe that's a big say of things. But to be honest, I don't follow stocks. So it's not something that I'm interested in personally. My trading is based around FX predominantly. I do look at commodities, metals. I do keep up to date roughly with the indices as well, but mostly FX is where my focus is. So I'm not really too read up in terms of what is happening with the stocks at the moment. But again, it depends on what you're looking at for longer term as well. If your longer term is the end of the year, or is your longer term within 5 years? I think if your longer term's a 5-year stretch, well, I think buying now generally is still a good time. Of course, this is not investment advice. Yeah, that's your that comes down to your decision. But it depends on your horizon. If you're looking to hold for the next 5 years, I still think it's a good time to get in. If you're looking for the end of the year, well, again, probably still could be a good time as well. But things can happen as well between now and the end of the year too. But yeah, it depends how long term your outlook is. No problem, Alex. Happy to help. And yeah, guys, that has brought us to the end of the analysis. So I think for me, Euro USD longs and New Zealand CAD longs is where I'm going to keep my focus at for now. If I do get into any positions, I'll let you guys know. Check out the Discord, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below. Also at the top of the chat, so you definitely can't miss it. It's Elevating Traders. You can share ideas there. I share some of my ideas there, so do other people. So if you're looking to join the community, go check it out. Free to join. Link in the description to that. But I will be live again tomorrow. Same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, join. Come say hi, discuss some charts with us, share ideas. We're interested to see what people are looking at. Of course, I'll let you guys know what I'm looking to trade, or for many trades I'll look to share. And of course, guys, before you do leave, drop a like and do subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, finding it useful. It does really help out. So I do really appreciate that, guys. And of course, hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But really appreciate everyone tuning in. Hope everyone has a great day. And of course, I'll catch you all tomorrow.